Hello, the best. Oh yeah, this is the sound of the 94th year. The PlayStation revolutionized gaming, introducing groundbreaking features such as 3D graphics, CD-ROMs, and the DualShock controller. Its immense success saw it amass 100 million units sold in its first decade, with acclaimed classics like Final Fantasy VII and Metal Gear Solid as part of its expansive game library. It was an avenue for independent developers to showcase their work, leading to the rise of the indie gaming scene. Sony's rise to power was solidified with the overwhelming success of the PlayStation, which profoundly changed the gaming industry and set the stage for future consoles to follow. This year, Bandai released the Palladium Multimedia home console, which was designed to capture the attention of younger audiences. However, its multifaceted approach to home entertainment made it difficult to compete with rivals, resulting in dismal sales and its discontinuation by 1996. Nevertheless, the remaining units were repurposed by Banpresto, a Bandai subsidiary, into coin-operated Mecha King machines set up in Japanese arcades and stores. These machines showcased animated clips to attract customers. NEC launched PCFX Multimedia Console, powered by B810 CPU and CD-ROM, to succeed PC Engine. Tower-like structure intended to upgrade, but lack of 3D polygon-based graphics chip, expensive price, and limited dev assistance made it a commercial flop, selling only 400,000 units before 1998 discontinuation. Sega released the 32X add-on for the Sega Mega Drive, Genesis, the Sega Nomad handheld console, and the Sega Saturn home console to enter the 32-bit era. The 32X provided improved graphics, audio, and control capabilities, while the Nomad was the last handheld console by Sega and was regionally locked. The Saturn had a dual CPU architecture and 8 processors, and featured ports of classic arcade games and original titles on CD-ROM. It allowed for improved graphics, audio, and control capabilities, providing a unique gaming experience. Nintendo's Super Game Boy revolutionized gaming, allowing gamers to play classic Game Boy titles on SNES. It featured 4 shades of gray and enhanced certain SNES games with its color palette feature. Super Game Boy was popular with retro gamers and remains a beloved piece of gaming history. Now let's take a journey down memory lane and recall the top 20 games of the incredible year of 1994. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe and spread the word to your friends and family. My top 20 games of 1994 is opened by Mega Man X2. Mega Man X2 was released in 1994 and was the sequel to the popular Mega Man X. It follows X, a robotic warrior, as he battles a new set of Mavericks to save the world. The game features improved graphics and level design, as well as new enemies, power-ups, and bosses. The game was praised for its difficulty and level design, as well as its soundtrack. Many of the mechanics from the first game, such as the wall jumping and dash sliding, were improved. The introduction of new characters and abilities, such as the X-Buster upgrade, gave the game a unique flavor. Overall, Mega Man X2 was a success, and is still remembered fondly by fans today. It was an ambitious undertaking that pushed the boundaries of the Mega Man franchise and ultimately made for a great gaming experience. Super Star Wars: Return of the Jedi takes 19th place. Super Star Wars: Return of the Jedi is an action-adventure video game released by LucasArts. The game was one of the first to be released for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System and was based on the 1983 film Return of the Jedi. The game follows Luke Skywalker as he battles his way through the levels, encountering various enemies and solving puzzles. It also had some of the most advanced graphics seen on the SNES at the time, with some impressive effects. Return of the Jedi was praised for its innovative gameplay and level design, as well as its use of audio and visual effects. It also offered a good replay value as it allowed players to go back to previous levels and achieve higher scores. In the end, Super Star Wars: Return of the Jedi was a success and a great addition to the Star Wars video game franchise. It still stands as one of the most beloved games of the SNES era. XCOM: UFO Defense lands on 18th place. XCOM: UFO Defense is a classic 1994 strategy game that achieved great success. Developed by Mythos Games and published by Microprose, this turn-based game was praised for its innovative strategic and tactical gameplay. Players assumed the role of the commander of the Extraterrestrial Combat Unit, a secret international organization tasked with defending Earth from alien invasions. The game features a range of strategic elements, from research and development to base building and resource management, as well as a tactical combat system. XCOM UFO Defense was a groundbreaking game for its time, and it earned enormous critical acclaim. Players praised the game for its deep strategic gameplay and for creating an immersive atmosphere. It was also a commercial success, selling over 1 million copies. Today, XCOM UFO Defense continues to be fondly remembered by gamers and PC gaming enthusiasts alike. For many, it remains the ultimate strategy game and still stands as one of the classic PC titles of the 1990s. Soaring through space, Star Wars TIE Fighter comes to 17th position. Star Wars TIE Fighter was a space combat simulator released in 1994 which challenged players to fight as part of the Galactic Empire and defend against the Rebel Alliance. It was the sequel to the popular X-Wing spaceflight simulator released the year prior and followed the same premise but with different spacecraft. The game featured a highly detailed 3D graphic engine and a multitude of missions to choose from, as well as multiple space combat styles. The game was incredibly successful and became a classic in the industry. It was praised for its realistic mechanics and space combat scenarios, as well as its detailed graphics. It spawned multiple sequels and spin-offs and was considered by many to be one of the best Star Wars games ever made. Star Wars TIE Fighter was a revolutionary game for its time and is still a fan favorite to this day. Its impact on the industry cannot be overstated, and its legacy will live on for years to come. The 16th spot in the rankings goes to the iconic Need for Speed racing game. The Need for Speed, released in 1994, was a revolutionary game that pushed the boundaries of racing games and brought the genre to the forefront of gaming culture. It set the standard for racing games of the era with its smooth graphics and intense gameplay. The game featured an open-world style of racing that was unheard of at the time, allowing players to explore and test their skills against the best racers in the virtual world. The game also featured a variety of cars and tracks, giving players a wide range of experiences and options to choose from. The Need for Speed was a massive success and spawned numerous sequels, spin-offs, and remakes over the years. Its impact on the gaming world is still felt today, as many of the features and mechanics it introduced have become staples of modern racing games. It truly changed the landscape of the genre and set the bar for future games.
Essence of true talent. Lightning-fast, hand-eye bullet, synapse-firing monster.
Streets of Rage 3 snagged the 15th spot on my top 1994 video games list. Streets of Rage 3 was released in 1994 and is still considered one of the best side-scrolling beat-em-up games of all time. Players took control of one of 4 characters who fought their way through 6 levels of action-packed enemies and bosses. The game offered a variety of moves and attacks for each character, as well as the ability to combine 2 characters' attacks to create more powerful moves. The game also featured 2-player cooperative mode and allowed for a variety of weapons and items to be collected throughout the game. Streets of Rage 3 received a positive reception from critics, with many praising the gameplay and graphics. The game has spawned multiple sequels and remakes, and continues to be an iconic part of the beat-em-up genre. Super Street Fighter II Turbo is number 14 on my list of the best video games of 1994. Super Street Fighter II Turbo, released in 1994, is an iconic fighting game developed by Capcom. It is the 5th installment in the Street Fighter II series and is widely considered to be the definitive version of the game. The game was released to arcades and later to home consoles and featured improved graphics and a new combo system, as well as a rebalanced roster of characters. It also introduced the concept of super combos, which allowed players to perform devastating moves by expending a portion of their super meter. Super Street Fighter II Turbo has remained a popular title for tournaments and is still played today, particularly with the addition of modern online play. Its legacy can be seen in both the Street Fighter series and the world of fighting games in general. Demolition Man places 13th in the competition. Demolition Man is an action-packed platform video game released in 1994. It follows the story of the same-name movie where the player takes on the role of John Spartan, a man wrongly convicted of a crime he didn't commit. The player must navigate through a series of levels to clear his name and save the city from the villain Simon Phoenix. The game was a success, receiving good reviews from both critics and players. It received praise for its fast-paced action, detailed graphics, and intense difficulty. It was also praised for its innovative power-up system, which allowed players to upgrade their character with new abilities. Overall, Demolition Man was an enjoyable and challenging game that brought the movie to life in a unique and interesting way. It allowed players to explore the world of the movie and experience the action firsthand. It was a great success and will be remembered fondly by fans. Killer Instinct proudly stands at number 12 on my top games of 1994 list. Killer Instinct was a revolutionary fighting game released for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System in 1994 by Rare. It was the first fighting game to use pre-rendered 3D graphics, and it featured a complex combo system. It was an instant hit, selling millions of copies and inspiring numerous sequels and ports. Killer Instinct revolutionized the fighting game genre by introducing a wild new 3D art style, dynamic combo system, and exciting soundtrack. It featured memorable characters such as Fulgore and Cinder, as well as an incredibly detailed fighting engine. Despite being released on the aging Super Nintendo, Killer Instinct had some of the most advanced graphics of its time. Killer Instinct spawned numerous sequels and ports on other systems, such as the Xbox One in 2013. The game is still remembered fondly by fans of the fighting game genre, and it remains an impressive example of what can be accomplished with a combination of technology and creative vision. Earthworm Jim achieves an impressive 11th position. The Earthworm Jim video game, released in 1994, has gone down in history as one of the most beloved and iconic platformers of the 16-bit era. Players take on the role of Earthworm Jim, an unlikely hero with a suit of robotic armor, and set out to save Princess What's-Her-Name from the evil Psy-Crow. Along the way, Jim faces off against a variety of enemies, collects useful power-ups, and solves puzzles. The game was praised for its unique and zany level design, colorful visuals, and iconic music. Its challenging gameplay also earned critical acclaim, and its unique approach to the platformer genre made it an instant classic. Earthworm Jim is remembered fondly for its irreverent humor, memorable characters, and classic platformer gameplay. It has been credited with inspiring a new generation of platformers, and its influence is still felt today. Before stepping into the top 10 games of 1994, let's take a moment to recognize some honorable mentions. Under a Killing Moon,
the hero of Mean Streets and Martian Memorandum aimlessly wanders above the
Heretic, System Shock, Beneath a Steel Sky,
What you want? Looking for a saboteur from the Gap.
Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3, Theme Park, Little Big Adventure, Contra Hard Corps, Road Rash, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. This was an impressive list of games, and I'm sure everyone found something they loved. Now, without further ado, let us dive into the top 10 games of 1994. Wing Commander 3 Heart of the Tiger takes a top 10 spot on my list. Wing Commander 3 Heart of the Tiger was a revolutionary space combat simulator released in 1994. It was the first game in the series to feature full-motion video cutscenes, and was the first to feature a fully voiced cast of actors. The game was a huge success, with its groundbreaking visuals and intense gameplay driving it to the top of the bestsellers list. The game also featured an innovative branching mission system, allowing players to make decisions that would affect the outcome of their missions. It also supported an extended story mode, allowing players to experience the full story of the game. The game was also the first of its kind to feature a complex and dynamic human-AI relationship between the player and their wingman, Blair. With its impressive visuals and tight gameplay, Wing Commander 3 Heart of the Tiger laid the foundation for future space combat simulators. The classic Earthbound RPG is on the 9th place of my game top. Earthbound was released in 1994 to critical and commercial success, gaining a devoted fanbase in the decades that followed. It was the second entry in the Mother series of RPGs and was one of the first mainstream RPGs released in the United States. The game featured a unique and quirky setting with characters drawn in a cartoon style. Its story revolved around a group of 4 children on a mission to save the world from an alien invasion. The game featured a unique battle system, allowing players to use items, fight with weapons, and use psychic powers. The game also featured some minigames and had a soundtrack composed by composer Kiichi Suzuki. Earthbound has become an iconic RPG, and its influence can still be seen in modern RPGs. Its memorable characters, innovative battle system, and unique setting have endeared the game to fans for decades. It remains an enduring example of the genre and an important part of gaming history. Warcraft: Orcs and Humans takes 8th place. Warcraft: Orcs and Humans was released in 1994 and is renowned as the game which started the Warcraft series. The game was one of the first real-time strategy games and was praised for its rich and immersive story, allowing players to take control over either the Orcish or human forces in a bid for control of the Kingdom of Azeroth. Although visually simple, the game featured complex gameplay with a multitude of units and buildings, leading to strategic depth and replayability. The game was a hit and spawned a number of sequels and expansions, leading to the Warcraft franchise becoming one of the most popular in the gaming world. Also of note, the game was one of the first to be released using CD-ROM technology, allowing for larger maps, more detailed graphics, and improved sound. Overall, Warcraft: Orcs and Humans was a groundbreaking title which set the standard for future real-time strategy games. Tekken: The Legend of Fighting Games is on the 7th position of my top. The original Tekken was released in 1994 and it was a revolutionary game that changed the fighting game genre. It introduced a unique combination of strategy and action that combined a fast-paced, dynamic fighting system. The game was released for the PlayStation and other platforms, and it quickly became a fan favorite. Tekken was the first 3D fighting game to feature a fully realized 3D environment and characters. This allowed for a more immersive experience that was not possible in the traditional 2D fighting games. The original Tekken game featured a variety of characters and stages, as well as a deep story. The game was a success from the start and it spawned multiple sequels as well as spin-offs. Tekken was a groundbreaking game that showed the potential of 3D fighting games and set a high standard for the genre that still stands today. The Lion King takes 6th position with a roar. The Lion King, released in 1994, was an instant classic. Its innovative use of Disney animated characters in a photorealistic environment made it stand out from other video games of its kind. The game featured a unique story following the journey of Simba as he grows up and eventually takes his rightful place as the King of Pride Rock. With a widely recognizable soundtrack and a memorable cast of characters, the game was a hit with both children and adults alike. The game was praised for its complex characters and detailed story as well as its vivid visuals. The Lion King also featured exciting gameplay with a variety of levels and puzzles to challenge the player. It quickly became one of the most popular games of the 1990s and still has a large following of dedicated gamers today. The top 5 games of 1994 proudly opened by Sonic the Hedgehog 3. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 was a groundbreaking game released in 1994. It was the 3rd installment in the popular Sonic the Hedgehog series and was widely praised for its outstanding graphics, fast-paced gameplay, and innovative level design. Sonic 3 introduced the concept of Sonic's ability to switch between 2 separate characters, Sonic and Tails, as well as introducing different power-ups and new boss battles. The game featured a large number of levels which were made more rewarding with the inclusion of secret areas, bonus levels, and a variety of hidden items. Additionally, the game included a save game feature, allowing players to save their progress and continue from where they left off. Sonic 3 was a major success, becoming one of the highest-selling games on the Sega Genesis platform. It has since been regarded as one of the greatest games of all time and has been re-released multiple times. In 4th place, we've got Super Metroid. Super Metroid is a timeless classic side-scrolling action-adventure game released in 1994 by Nintendo. Since its release, it has remained highly influential in the gaming community and is widely regarded as one of the greatest video games of all time. The game follows the intergalactic bounty hunter Samus Aran as she explores the surface and depths of the planet Zebes in her mission to recover an infant Metroid from the space pirates. Super Metroid revolutionized game design with its intricate world full of secrets, puzzles, and enemies, as well as an expansive soundtrack and cinematic atmospheres. As one of the earliest examples of the Metroidvania genre, Super Metroid pushed the boundaries of what a video game could be and left an indelible mark on the gaming industry. With its innovative game design, revolutionary soundtrack, and unforgettable boss fights, Super Metroid stands out among other classic video games as a masterpiece of gaming. Top 3 games of 1994 is opened by Donkey Kong Country. Donkey Kong Country, which was released in 1994, was a revolutionary platform game that has stood the test of time. It was the first game to use pre-rendered 3D models for its characters, creating a unique and beautiful game world that was far ahead of its time. The game featured colorful graphics, catchy music, and various challenging levels, which all contributed to its immense success. Players controlled Donkey Kong and his sidekick, Diddy Kong, as they navigated through the game's levels while avoiding enemies, collecting items, and rescuing Donkey Kong's precious bananas. The game's popularity spawned 2 sequels and a variety of spin-off titles. It was one of the first licensed games to be released for the Super Nintendo Entertainment System, and it helped to open the doors for other successful licensed titles. Donkey Kong Country marked the beginning of a successful franchise that continues to provide hours of entertainment for gamers today. Brutal and immersive shooter Doom 2: Hell on Earth takes the silver medal. Doom 2: Hell on Earth is a classic shooter released in 1994 and has become one of the most iconic games in gaming history. It builds upon the foundation set by its predecessor, Doom, by introducing new levels, enemies, and a story that tasks players with stopping the forces of Hell from invading Earth. The game quickly gained fame for its intense violence and gore, as well as its groundbreaking gameplay. 30 years later, Doom 2: Hell on Earth is still talked about and is widely celebrated as a classic. It remains a game that is appreciated for its timeless gameplay and its influence on the industry. It has spawned a series of sequels, expansions, and spin-offs and is remembered for its impact on the landscape of gaming. Doom 2: Hell on Earth changed the way people thought about first-person shooters and continues to be an important part of gaming culture. And the first place goes to fantastic Final Fantasy VI. Final Fantasy VI was released in 1994, the 6th installment in the Final Fantasy series. It was developed and published by Square for the SNES and was met with critical and fan acclaim. The game follows a group of heroes as they battle to overthrow the villainous Empire. The game was praised for its intricate storyline with multiple endings, its expansive and detailed world building, and its cast of characters with diverse personalities and backstories. A standout moment in the game was the introduction of the fan favorite Espers. The high-quality graphics, stellar sound design, and captivating gameplay also contributed to its success. Since its release, Final Fantasy VI has become a fan favorite, with some even proclaiming it the best game in the series. Its legacy lives on in modern remakes and spin-offs. It's also considered to be one of the most influential games in RPG history, setting the standard for many of the JRPGs that followed. This classic RPG is a must-play for any fan of the genre. Thanks for watching my top 20 games of 1994. I hope you enjoyed a look back at some of the most beloved games of this time. From the 8-bit classics of the NES and Genesis to the polygonal worlds of the PlayStation, all of these games have left their mark in the annals of video game history. From the days of Sonic to the dawn of Final Fantasy VII, these titles will remain timeless classics. This has been our top 20 games of 1994. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.